because it's not a team, when you look at from a personnel standpoint and consider what they do well, it's not a team you'd expect to struggle that much offensively.
You know, it's funny too, before the game, I was watching as Eric Wynalda, who is again in attendance here today, was messing around with a couple guys. Pedro Mendez was one of them. Pablo Cruz was out there as well, but they were trying to knock balls off the crossbars. That ball sent in. Maybe Mendez did that a little bit too well there. Good cross over the middle, the header for the goal by Ruben Luna. Where did he come from to head that one in? A perfect cross from Mike Randolph, and Ruben Luna, with his 7th of the season, gives his Silverbacks a 1-0 lead late in the first half. We got to take another look at that one. They don't get much prettier than that. Perfect cross from Randolph, and Luna just launches himself in there, heading it in for the goal.
He was sort of just waiting in the weeds there, and you said it, a perfect cross right on his head. Allowed him the opportunity to put some serious power behind it because of how well it was placed right in front of him.
And let's go ahead down to the field where Scott Janovitz is joined by Silverbacks head coach Brian Haynes. Go ahead, Scott.
Coach, you guys have struggled a bit offensively here the last couple weeks. You get Randolph forward, though, there on the assist. Talk about how important it is to get guys forward at the right time for your offense.
Hey, listen, when the right things that we've been practicing and working on in practice comes off in the game, it always excites the coach. It makes me feel like I'm a good coach. But it's the things that the guys have been trying to do. We've been trying to get crosses across, and we finally got one. Luna was in the right place at the right time, puts it away. So I'm pretty excited for him.
Speaking about things you guys have practiced, certainly the long throw from Maroney's been one of them.
Yeah, well, the thing about it is that we have a weapon, and if we have it, I think we should use it. I think we use it a little bit too much at times, so we can just find feet because we're a good possession-oriented team. So I think we put it down at times when we have to and get our chances that way as well.
Obviously, you get that huge goal late at the end of the first half. Do you guys play a bit more conservative, or do you have to continue to push the ball?
I don't think Minnesota is going to come in to try and just sit back and play now. So we're going to have to make sure we get another goal to put pressure on them. They're a good team, so we got to be smart and make sure we get the next goal.
Appreciate it, Coach. Good luck in the second.
Okay.
I actually say last touch on that one was by Minnesota, so the Silverbacks will get a chance to clear this one away as Nasco will take his time. And in fact, he won't even get a chance to take his time. The first half is over. And in fact, it was a late strike in the first half that gave the Silverbacks a 1-0 lead over Minnesota United FC. Ruben Luna's 7th goal of the season in the 42nd minute, scoring on a header of a Mike Randolph assist. And the Silverbacks take the 1-0 lead as they head into the locker room here. Stay with us for just a moment. Scott Janovitz down on the field will be joined by both head coaches momentarily. And I'm sure a lot for both to say here as they head into the locker room at halftime. Manny Lagos for Minnesota to join Scott here shortly, as will Brian Haynes for the Silverbacks. But again, it was a late strike after both teams battling back and forth for a considerable period of time. And it looks like it'll be Brian Haynes joining Scott first down there. And let's go ahead down to the field where Scott Janovitz is joined by Silverbacks head coach Brian Haynes. Go ahead, Scott.
Coach, you guys have struggled a bit offensively here the last couple weeks. You get Randolph forward, though, there on the assist. Talk about how important it is to get guys forward at the right time for your offense.
Hey, listen, when the right things that we've been practicing and working on in practice comes off in the game, it always excites the coach. It makes me feel like I'm a good coach. But it's the things that the guys have been trying to do. We've been trying to get crosses across, and we finally got one. Luna was in the right place at the right time, puts it away. So I'm pretty excited for him.
Speaking about things you guys have practiced, certainly the long throw from Maroney's been one of them.
Yeah, well, the thing about it is that we have a weapon, and if we have it, I think we should use it. I think we use it a little bit too much at times, so we can just find feet because we're a good possession-oriented team. So I think we put it down at times when we have to and get our chances that way as well.
Obviously, you get that huge goal late at the end of the first half. Do you guys play a bit more conservative, or do you have to continue to push the ball?
I don't think Minnesota is going to come in to try and just sit back and play now. So we're going to have to make sure we get another goal to put pressure on them. They're a good team, so we got to be smart and make sure we get the next goal.
Appreciate it, Coach. Good luck in the second.
Okay.
And thank you, Scott. Coach Haynes joining Scott Jadovitz down there. Scott will also be joined by Manny Lagos, and it appears that Coach Manny Lagos, head coach for the Minnesota United FC, now with Scott. Scott, go ahead.
You guys started out well. It seemed to hold your own, at least early on in that first half. A letdown, though, defensively late. Talk about what happened on that late goal.
Yeah, I know. I thought we had a poor clearance in the middle of the field. They won it and had numbers, and they got it wide, and the guy made a good, hard near-post run. So, credit to them. I thought the last 10 minutes we weren't quite doing as much as we'd like to in terms of keeping the ball in good spots in the field, and they really came at it and raised the tempo. So we've got to go into halftime. We have to regroup. We have to really decide about how we want to tackle in the second half and hopefully get back in this game.
As the half wore on, Atlanta started to possess the ball a bit more. Are there things you guys can do to get a bit more offensive in the second?
Without a doubt. I mean, again, I think it's got to be about keeping the ball in the middle of the field a bit more and making sure we make sure they have to react to us. And right now, they're doing a good job of their movement. So second half's going to be big for us to really take control of the tempo and get back into this.
Appreciate your time, Coach.
Thank you.
Of course, Eric Wynalda, technical director for the Silverbacks, former U.S. team great. And, let's talk a little bit about the game tonight, obviously, but key moments here for the Silverbacks. It's been a little bit of a struggle here in the second half, especially offensively. Obviously, you're at the point of the season right now with the Soccer Bowl coming up. You want to start gearing up and start showing a little bit of better level of play like it was in the spring, I'd imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a good point. And you actually were the one that brought it up. You said, do you think we're going to have a problem with the idea of already being in the final? And you were absolutely right. We probably were denying it at the wrong time. We probably should have addressed it a lot sooner. I think Brian's done a pretty good job with the team. It's just the problem is that we've tinkered around a little bit with some stuff. We've entertained the idea of maybe playing a different way at certain times, and the results have not come at all. So the message was pretty clear to the guys that, look, you're not that good. You can't just turn on the switch when November 9th rolls around and win a game. So I think tonight and the next couple of weeks will be a good indication of where we are physically and mentally. We've had some injuries this week, which is unfortunate. Pablo Cruz rolled his ankle, and looks like Bobby Reese might be out for the season. Brad Stister's still struggling, so we're mixing things up, but I think the attitude might be right tonight.
Well, in some ways, then, is this almost a good thing to get a little bit of a taste of that kind of medicine before the season, get it a little bit sharper? Because obviously, in the way it's looking now, come the Soccer Bowl, it's going to be a red-hot New York Cosmos team coming in. They're starting to open up a little bit of a lead, and facing Carolina tonight, they look right now, obviously, like the forerunners come in here, and obviously a very talented team there.
Absolutely. No, it's not a bad. It's a really careful what you wish for, because we're sitting here looking at this saying, all right, Carolina, last time they played the Cosmos, they obviously destroyed them 3-0. They hit the reset button, kind of like we did in the spring, and then we only didn't run the table, but we got our act together. The Cosmos have done that. They've proven to be a very good team. I'm really curious to see how that result spits out, because it will pretty much dictate our mindset going into the final. For the league, it'd be great. Let's face it. We might end up getting a national broadcast if it's the Cosmos, because they carry that kind of cachet. So I think let's see what happens. We got to focus on our stuff. We got to make sure that we're a worthy opponent. But they have been great, and Gio Savaresi's done a great job.
Fort Lauderdale and Tampa Bay are both at 14, and they're tied right now 1-1 still. So one way or another, one of those teams will still be in it, but that might be the only team. The Silverbacks actually now, again, if my math is correct here, I believe the Silverbacks now officially eliminated from competition here, from a chance to win. No, pardon me, I take that back. Silverbacks actually would. That ball over the middle, and a header and a goal. Danny Barrera fresh into the contest, strikes for his 4th goal of the season. And the Silverbacks buffer their lead to 2-0.
And I knocked Shane Maroney earlier for his inability to put the ball across the face of the net. And I believe it was Maroney on that exact play that did it to perfection.
Again, Minnesota looking to pick up the pace now, 9 minutes left in regulation.
Playing stingy defense, too. Less than a goal per game. 10 and 11 games.
Ball headed up, back to the outside. Now Nasco comes out to try and get it. And that'll be a foul on Nasco, and it'll set up a PK. Nasco was diving for the ball, but caught the legs of the Minnesota player.
That's ridiculous.
It'll set up a PK here.
In addition to it being incidental contact on a play where the goalie clearly had the right to the ball, there's no advantage here from the, to award a penalty on that is, to me, extremely generous.
And so Mike Ambersley, or pardon me, this is Simone Bracalello, who will be looking for his 7th goal of the season, try to cut it to a 1-goal game. The PK, and it's good. Simone Bracalello knocks in the penalty kick. Goal number 7 on the season for Bracalello. Minnesota takes advantage, breaks up the clean sheet, and with 8 minutes left to go, it's back to a 1-goal game. That ball forward nicely. Mendez comes out. He'll step forward, tripped up in the box, and he'll get the PK. And Mendez down, and that will be a red card, pardon me, a yellow card issued to the goalkeeper, Matt Van Okel. And again, it'll be a PK for Pedro Mendez here, I believe. So 90th minute of action now. Here's the PK, and it's good for Pedro Mendez. His 7th goal of the season, and that should just about do it. 3-1, Atlanta with the lead. Well, Mendez set the play up, and Mendez got the chance to finish it. And that should just about wrap this one up here. 3-1, Atlanta with the lead. Handoff assist. In the 74th minute, it was Danny Barrera that gave Atlanta a 2-0 lead, his 4th goal of the season off Shane Maroney's assist. Again, a header off an assist from an outside back. Simone Bracalello in the 82nd minute with a penalty kick goal brought the score to 2-1. By the 90th minute, it was Pedro Mendez who struck with his 7th goal of the season on a penalty kick as well. And the Silverbacks go on to pick up a big victory here, their 4th of the fall season. Atlanta now 4-4-3 in the fall, 16 points, and at least temporarily in 2nd place in the league. Minnesota United FC now 4-2-5 in the fall season. They remain at 14 points and will drop back in the standings. And again, for Minnesota United FC, I believe that will eliminate them, if again my math is right, from the fall season here and from the fall championship, and that as well will eliminate them from the Soccer Bowl here in Atlanta in the upcoming weeks. So a big loss here for Minnesota. Again, Brian Haynes will join Scott Janovich. You see him jogging over there right now. And let's go ahead, head down to the field where Scott Janovich is joined by Silverbacks head coach Brian Haynes. Scott, go ahead.
Coach, a huge win tonight. It's the 2nd time in your last 11 games that you've scored more than 1 goal. Yeah. You get 3 tonight. 2 of them came on defensemen getting forward, putting the ball across the front of that. Is that something you guys have been working on?
We've been working on it. And like I said, when it comes off in a game, I feel like a genius. But in all actuality, we've been having those chances all year. We haven't been taking them. And tonight it came together. Listen, I can't be upset about the fact that we gave up a goal. What I'm happy about is the fact that Pedro Mendez, for his hard work tonight, got that goal, and I'm so happy for him.
Speaking of the goal you allowed, I hate to bring up controversy, but it seemed like a generous call from your vantage point.
Yeah, but I'm a coach, and we always trying to correct things, and we think when we look at it that the ball's going away from goal, hey, if he can shoot from there and score, great. It happened late in the game where he made a mistake, and it was wide from goals, and the guys defended for him. So I think from when we look at it, that's how we see it. A mistake was made, and we were punished for it.
I know coaches always like to say you take 1 game at a time, but you have 3 games left, and you know you're playing on November 9, win, lose, or draw. How do you navigate the last 3 games with that final game in mind?
Simple. They're professionals. They suppose this is their job. They're supposed to take their job seriously. When you go to work and you're haphazard about your work, you can be fired.
Resting anyone?
It's the same thing. Resting anyone? No, we got to go. We have to go into this. We can't go into the final limping. We got to go and play at the high level. So I'm going to play the best 11 we have every game we have.
Appreciate it, Coach.
All right, thanks a lot.
Congrats on the win.
Thanks.
And that was head coach Brian Haynes for the Atlanta Silverbacks. And again, a very happy Brian Haynes. And said, hey, last couple games of the season, we are going for it. Let's head back down to the field. Manny Lagos joining Scott Janovich. Go ahead, Scott.
Coach, a hard-fought game. You came up short. A couple defensive lapses. Atlanta got some defenders forward, put 2 balls across the face of the goal, and then ended up getting goals like that. Talk about those lapses specifically.
I mean, to be honest, I think it was really that they dealt with us sometimes offensively, that they got the counters and got chances. So for me, it was really Atlanta's ability to defend against us in the middle of the offensive third that led to them opening up the game. So, you know, tough one for us because, again, I thought we should have played better. I thought Atlanta played well, and it's frustrating because at times we did well, but certainly not good enough tonight to win the game. You're
certainly not out of things. Talk about focus points, what you guys want to improve on with just 3 games to play.
I mean, again, I think, you know, consistency is there for 3 games. We have to figure out a way to win 3 games in a row. That's just all there is to it. We got 2 home, 1 away. It's not going to be easy, but again, we're going to have to pick ourselves up because the honest truth is we lost tonight. We got beat. I don't think it was a game where, you know, we could say that we deserve to win. So the reality is we have to make sure that we are cognizant that we have to get better next week if we want to at all try to see this thing out the right way.
Appreciate your time, Coach, and good luck moving forward.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Coach Manny Lagos, one of the real class acts in the NASL, along with Brian Haynes. And you heard him there, very disappointed in his team, and certainly with time running short for them, again, out of the fall season, I guess there's a possibility if someone else, if the Silverbacks win the fall, that opens up the door for another team, but obviously hope very, very slim right now for Minnesota that they'll be making a return trip here to Atlanta on the 9th of November for the Soccer Bowl. So that'll do it for us here in Atlanta. Once again, the final score 3-1. Goal scorers for Atlanta, Ruben Luna, Danny Barrera, and Pedro Mendez. For Minnesota, the lone goal coming from a Simone Braccolello penalty kick. Our next game here will be on the 2nd when the Silverbacks host the Cosmos, and what could be a preview, and certainly now is looking like a preview of the Soccer Bowl, which will be the following week. But again, November 2nd, 7:30 will be our next game here as Atlanta hits the road for the next 2 weeks. Thanks again for joining us, everyone. For Scott Janovitz, I'm John Schwartz. Have a great evening, everybody. Final score again from Atlanta. Atlanta 3, Minnesota 1.